Hello aviation family, my name is Maja Gedosev and this is my COVID story. I'm Serbian by origin, German national, and currently residing in the UK. I've moved a lot since the early age of 16, either for educational or work purposes. A couple of years ago, I got the job with Flybe and moved to UK from beautiful Seychelles, where I was for 3 years working for Air Seychelles. This is the beauty of aviation industry, basically. It takes you places across the globe, continents and oceans. And this is why I love it so much. Moving a lot entails also basically meeting new people, trying to fit into new communities, getting adjusted to new food, new cultures, new traditions, etc. This was always quite easy for me because I really enjoy doing that and I'm very curious about all this. But at the beginning of pandemic, back in March, I have to say it did bring some challenges to me, and I'll tell you a little bit about it now. So what happened was that I landed a dream job with JetBlue. It was something that I always wanted to do. And I started working for JetBlue at the same time the first lockdown came into effect. And that was something that no one could have expected, a challenge that, came overnight, and we had to tackle it. So that first morning at work, I was sat in my kitchen and the doorbell rang and it was DHL delivery. They brought my laptop with all the office supplies branded JetBlue and a blue lanyard. I was so super excited about it. I looked at that laptop and I was thinking, wow, this is going to be my only window to the organization and my new co-workers for quite some time, for sure, because there were already talks about ban on travel, not moving, staying home for quite a long time. So I was thinking, wow, this is definitely going to be a game changer. And that very morning, although I knew that my job was always going to entail working remotely, being based in the UK and being sort of the first crew member of JetBlue that is so far away from the home base, I was thinking, wow, this is potentially, going to be really tough for me. And how do I do it? How do I overcome that feeling of isolation and distance? So now, to be fair, most of the global working population has transitioned to working from home. So I was not a single example of it. However, I thought, wow, the pandemic is definitely going to overlay a special layer of challenge for me, because there is this distance, isolation, then not being able to meet my coworkers in person, then basically making sure that they are aware of me and my existence across the Atlantic. So all these things and thoughts came around, and I was thinking, wow, how am I going to overcome that? And on top of that, my role entails working very closely across the organization. So basically, today I have very, very regular contacts with teams from revenue management, network planning, government affairs, legal, sales, marketing, communications. And it's all part of planning of transatlantic flights. So it was something that I was kind of thinking, wow, how am I going to do that so far away and not knowing anyone on the very first day? So what I'm about to tell you may sound like common sense to some of you, but when you're just one across the Atlantic and during this pandemic, even the most obvious things start to become a bit more challenging. So here are a few practical tips that helped me overcome the challenge, and I hope that you'll find them very useful for any future situation you may find yourself in. And I'd say also that, it kind of develops a little bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. And I like that. It challenged me and made me a bit more aware of my capabilities, especially when it comes to networking and connecting to people. So in terms of the steps that I would recommend, I'll say begin with step number 1, and that is take the first step and reach out to your immediate superior. As number 2, I would say set up regular Teams catch-up calls and weekly reporting. Then as number 3, I'd say start saying hi to people in the organization. Reach out to those that are in different departments. Ask them to introduce you to other people in their departments, especially those that are very relevant to your particular work and project. Ensure to get your onboarding done. So don't forget that part. I was unfortunate not to be able to go to Orlando, where we do our onboarding usually. That's still pending, and I hope to have the opportunity to do so this year. However, that is very, very important, as it does give you an idea of the culture, the new culture you're starting to be part of, but also of the brand values, the mission, the vision of the company, and especially the do's and the don'ts, which you want to make sure you know when you start interacting with everyone internally, but also externally. Then I'd say identify your go-to person. I was very lucky that there was a project manager in place that was running the transatlantic flights launch for quite some time. So I reached out to him and I said, look, make sure to include me in all the meetings, all relevant meetings, and let's work closely together to make this a success. So we set up our own weekly calls, catch-up calls, but also we made sure to kind of internally let people know and what I'm doing, what I'm able to do for them, how can I best support them in the UK market, and also the ways they can start getting more and more involved as we come closer to our project launch. So suddenly my calendar was starting to get very busy. And as time progressed, more and more crew members were starting to reach out to me, wanting to either present their work so far done or share some new ideas, discuss the project in more detail, get some updates, get some recommendations, or ask for support in this market. So that was really, really great. Then I'd say make sure to be the source of relevant information and updates and use it to stay in touch with people. So what I did was basically I would monitor daily any news that is relevant to either our organization or competition or industry as a whole. And if I see it relevant and if I see an opportunity in there, I would take that news and share it with the relevant stakeholder internally. That would instigate ideas, discussions, potentially even actions. So I'd say that's a really nice way to stay in touch, make sure that you're visible in the organization, but also kind of help the organization identify those opportunities, especially during the tough time like pandemic, which really used up most of the time and focus of the organization, of all our coworkers. And here is my favorite point. I'd say having fun while working is very, very important. And I think COVID has brought that about, especially during our regular team calls. Someone would put out a joke, people would laugh, it would be a great icebreaker. But as time progressed, we also started to bring in our new home co-workers into play, such as family, especially pets. I have a dog called Blue, and he was just a regular on all team calls. So that's really, really one thing that I would say shows your personality, brings you closer, and connects you better to people. Then, of course, don't forget to celebrate over casual chats. And, there are those official meetings where you are focused on the progress made, on the targets you have set for yourselves, actions completed. You're discussing about, where next, what next, and so on and so forth. But But once that official meeting is done and over, you want to get another little chat call with those colleagues that you actually worked with closely on a particular project and just have a small celebration. Just say, hey, this was really good. We're going forward. We're having a smooth progress towards our goal, and just enjoy the moment, tap yourselves on the back and say, wow, great job done. So 6 months into my role, which was about end of September 2020, I was finally able to visit my team in the US. And it really felt like reuniting with the family, because over time, through all those team calls, connections, contacts, projects, work that we've done together, and so on, it really felt like we knew each other for a very, very long time. And I was truly happy to see them in person. I will never forget when one of the colleagues said, wow, Maja, you're actually so tall. We didn't expect to see you that tall on the camera. You look really like, shorter for sure. Over time, I realized that JetBlue is an organization of high quality connections. People feed off each other's positive energy and they make sure that everyone feels welcomed. I did. Opinions heard and considered, of course. That is what drives our organization forward. The way we treat each other, and the way we stand behind our founding goal of bringing humanity back to air travel. But first, we will have to make sure that we are human to each other. And I'm confident that we will come out of this stronger, both as individuals and as a team. And we will prevail and continue to do amazing things for each other, for our loved ones, for our customers, for the entire aviation world. We will thrive again. But in the meantime, we need to stay strong, stay safe, and definitely stay positive. Thank you.